Hello and welcome to the Covert Nerd Podcast. Thank you for listening. I appreciate the time you give me. Today we're going to look at an audio drama from Marvel. Then we'll go old school and visit a comic from ancient Rome in the late 60s. So let's get in and nerd it up. Wolverine, the Long Night Podcast, is an audio drama based on the Marvel character Wolverine. I hope they do more of these in the future. This podcast came out, I think, only a few months ago, and shortly after I wrote this, it was announced that they would do a second season called Marvel's Wolverine, The Lost Trail. Being in the audio world, I know this type of storytelling can be just as difficult to make as a comic book. Now, don't get me wrong, both are great, and they tell a story, but they're both taxing on their creators. I've listened to many old-time radio broadcasts, and that's how this podcast is done. And they're fun to listen to. If you haven't listened to any of those old audio dramas, I suggest you do it. I'll include a link in the show notes to some old audio drama people have posted on archive.org. Audio has the good and bad benefit of not being a complete medium. The difference between a TV show and the audio drama is not everything is thrown at you. When you watch something on a screen, you're given both the visual and the audio. Your brain doesn't have to fill in any of the gaps. With audio, your brain has to draw the pictures of the scenes and the characters for you based upon what you hear and what your mind can conjure. In the podcasting world, the fiction genre has seen an increase in popularity in the last year. I believe this will continue to be the case over the next few years. Now, I would assume that you're a fan of audio because you're listening right now. It's a personal medium, and what I mean is it's not something you typically listen to as a group. It's your player of choice and a pair of earbuds. The test on how good a podcast or audiobook is when you're listening in the car and it prevents you from getting out. If it does, then it's a good podcast or audiobook or audio drama, whatever you want to call it. I want to take you back in the Wayback Machine to the late 90s. I listened to a lot of books on tape back then, because back then there were no podcasts. You had to rewind if the previous person didn't, and the portable tape player I used just seemed to go through AA batteries so fast. I'm sounding like an old man yelling at kids to get off my lawn. But anyway, fast forward to today, and the effort to listen to audio, like most things, is almost frictionless. You can listen to whatever you want, whenever you want. It's not like radio, where you have to listen to whatever they want you to listen to. Also, the barrier of entry to produce podcasts or audiobooks is much easier than it used to be. I'm not saying either is easy. The ability to get your product to the consumer is relatively easy compared to 10 years ago. Just like in previous episodes, I've talked about the barrier of entry is lower, which is a good thing for all of us, in my opinion. If you like a particular podcast, please let them know. Sometimes we as podcasters wondering, hello, is anyone listening? All the podcasters I've talked to and listened to, they all 100% agree that when they get an email from a listener, it gives them a huge boost. It helps them be more excited for the next episode. I think this would be a good idea for most of the things that we consume. Whether it's a blog post or a simple piece of digital art, let the creator know that you like it. It doesn't have to be lengthy. A simple "good job, keep up the good work" will do wonders for a creator's morale. And that's why I try to do as many shout outs to the people who make contact with me. I hope you will give them a look and get some value from them and let them know that they are putting out good content. Now it's comic book review time, and I have two great books I think you'll enjoy. The first one is Britannia from Valiant. And here's the solicit. Ruled by the fates, manipulated by the gods, commanded by Caesar. In the year 65 AD, one's destiny was not his own. At the height of Nero's reign, a veteran Roman imperial war machine has been dispatched to the farthest reaches of the colonies to investigate unnatural happenings. In the remote outpost of Britannia, Antinous Axia, the first detective, will become Rome's only hope to reassert control over the empire's most barbaric frontier and keep the monsters that bridge the line between myth and mystery at bay. This is the first of 3 volumes released as of this recording, and all 3 are fabulous, in my opinion. Peter Milligan keeps the dialogue moving along nicely. He's the writer. It also keeps you wondering about who did it until the very last page. Then the art by Juan Jose Riep goes into such detail and seems to get the period piece correctly. He's meticulous about every single little detail. For example, on one page, we see our hero, Antinous, walking down the streets he draws the details of each street vendor down to the apples and carrots and strawberries that they're selling. As I mentioned, the veteran legionnaire Antinous Axia is a detective who is hesitantly working for the mad Emperor Nero. I guess to sum it up, it's imagine Sherlock Holmes being thrust back into Roman times to solve crimes for the Empire. When I first saw the solicit last year, I just really wasn't interested. But then I saw it again about a month ago and I couldn't stop reading all 3 volumes. If you're a Roman history fan, you'll love it. If you're not, you will still appreciate the art and the amazing story that they put together. Now, side note, if you want to hear a great Roman history podcast, The History of Rome by Mike Duncan is amazing. It's an older one, but it's still a great podcast. Mike goes out of his way to get everything as accurate as possible. He starts with the founding of Rome by Romulus and Remus and ends with the last Western emperor in 472 AD. It's a fantastic, simple way to learn about Roman history, and I will include a link to the History of Rome podcast in the show notes. The second comic I want to talk about is The Secret Six, which first appeared during the initial team's 7-issue title, Secret Six, from May 1968 to May 1969. Unusually, the premiere issue story began on the cover and continued on the interior page 1. This strike team of covert operatives consisted of Auguste Durant, Lily Denavier, Carlo Dorenze, Mike Tempest, Crimson Dawn, and King Savage. Now, the second comic I wanted to talk about was called The Secret Six by DC Comics. They first appeared during the initial team's 7-issue run titled The Secret Six from May 1968 to May 1969. Carl D. Smith, friend of the show, who's a writer with the Patreon, by the way, and I'll include a link to his Patreon in the show notes to check out, had mentioned The Secret Six a long time ago. I decided to check it out. I like the simplicity of the storytelling. There's not a whole lot of complicated characters and in-depth storylines. Basically, the team is given an assignment and they are tasked by completing the assignment. One story is to recover the stolen jewels. Another is to steal some plans for a secret jet before the communists get them. Sometimes a person only wants to read a simple action issue and be done with it. We don't need a whole lot more. Like all teams, though, each member has their own set of skills and abilities, in which there are 6 of them, hence the Secret Six title. This allows a story to use each member to complete their mission. Although the title is 50 years old, I still like the storytelling. The fact that it is 50 years old is part of the fun. You can tell it was written at the height of the Cold War because the reader hears the word commie multiple times. And it's a product of its time. Also, the old school ads are interesting and funny, like the 2-man submarine for only $6.90 or selling greeting cards for amazing prices. And I'll include the pictures of some of these ads in the show notes. I guarantee you most of you out there will recognize them if you've read any comics from even the 80s. A lot of these ads were still in there. Now, issue number 1, they started the story on the cover, which is a unique thing to do, and I'll try to include a picture of that in the show notes as well. But check it out. It's difficult to find, but it is still out there. I think they've collected them into a trade paperback, but I would strongly recommend just taking a look at it. It's a good, fun throwback to the 60s comics. Real quick, like I said, I try to do shout-outs for people. Lee Bokma, The Art of Lee Bokma on Facebook. Amazing art, great guy. Check him out. And all the guys over at the Podcast Arcade. I'll include a link to all of their amazing podcasts that you can check out. And, of course, like I mentioned, Carl D. Smith. Great creator, extremely intelligent guy. I strongly recommend you check out some of his work. So there you have it. It's a Covert Nerd Podcast. I, again, thank you for listening very much to the show. I appreciate the time. And until next time, nerd it out.